Hi. Do I look like shit? Probably. Why? Also, where am I? I went to the game. I was at the game. So the reason why I look like shit is, I know. Listen, I packed the wrong mic. I'm sorry. But the reason is because I went to the game. So my voice is a little shot too. The reason is because I went to the game and I was yelling a lot. So I obviously was enjoying the game. So I got to watch it in person. Wasn't really keeping track of the stats as much. So let's look at this. No, let's talk about it first. What am I doing looking at the stats first? So we're all in agreement. Justin is the quarterback one, right? Oh, but Connor, he had an interception. He threw the ball because he was trying to make a play. The ball got tipped up into the air, batted around by 40 players, and then was brought down at the last second by a Charger. And yeah, that's not like it was a boneheaded decision by Justin. That's the thing. Justin, I think it was 245, a touchdown, and like only 8 rushing yards on 4 carries and a rushing touchdown. And here's my thing, because I'm going to compliment the shit out of Justin. Why? I guess this isn't on Justin. This is on the offensive scheme. We need him to use his legs more. Like, it's every game he's less and less used his legs. And it's like, hey, we just saw you can throw for 245 yards on the Steelers offense. Do you want to add maybe like at least 45 yards of rushing? So there's that. I'm going to talk about the offense as a whole in a little bit, but Justin should be the quarterback one. This was a huge game for him and his situation with the Steelers. If he showed up and looked bad or just kept looking kind of like mediocre, as a lot of people, I didn't think so. I thought he was doing a great job. But if he was looking just kind of like then I thought Pittsburgh would for sure probably go to Russell whenever Russell was quote unquote healthy. This is going to be a huge game because of the Chargers defense. The Chargers ranked 3rd in rush defense and 5th in pass. So that was going to be huge. And Justin, granted, did a phenomenal job in this game. The play calling was a little sus. That's kind of like basically it. There's not much to talk about with Justin. You can go watch the game for yourself. And if at this point you want Russ to start, I think you just don't like Justin, or you're just like huge Russ fan, because Justin has shown us that he can control this offense and also spark it. I'm going to leave it there. The offensive play calling was really frustrating. Also, continuous penalties, man. Oh my God. How many times are we going to get flagged on offense? It is bad. Whether it's a legal formation or a legal shift. Also, we got a delay of game on defense. Never heard a stadium boo that loud before. But yeah, boneheaded stuff like that knocking us back. And then just like, I like Arthur Smith as a coordinator. I didn't really like him as a coach. But I want to see Tennessee coordination, not Atlanta. And there's a lot of Atlanta going on. Like, I don't know, 2nd and 13, and you run a pitch, like a gun pitch play? What are we doing? Also, you ran a pitch, I think it was out of the single back pitch play, maybe like 6 or 7 times, and it never worked, but you kept doing it? That was the thing. I think Najee ended this game with like 70 yards, but it was because of like the 4th quarter, he was getting chunk plays. But early on, I think by the 3rd quarter, he had like 8 carries for 12 yards or something like that. So if the run game is not working and you have a guy who can throw it on a rope like Justin can, or can use his legs like Justin can, why aren't we doing that? Like, Pittsburgh's conservatism is crazy to me. And actually, the guy that I was sitting next to at the game, he was like, they're just playing not to lose. And he wasn't even like a Steelers fan. He was there to support a player that he knows. And so he was rooting them on just because of that. But he was like, they're just playing not to lose. And I'm like, that's been Pittsburgh's game ever since like basically Ben's first injury. So yeah, I don't know what the big deal is with that. I don't know if maybe they're just trying to ease in Justin because you do only have an off season. I'm not going to judge the entirety of the offense on 3 games. I think like 5th or 6th game, once we get there, that's going to be a really good judgment like place, because we will have played a defense like the Chargers. We'll have played a defense by that point like Dallas. So that's going to be a really, really important time in this season to really, evaluate how things are going. The running game, it was frustrating that they kept, granted, we did only have like 13 carries by the time halftime came in, so Pittsburgh wasn't even running the ball that much, but also it was just like the first half was maybe like each team maybe got 1 possession and then they were punting. So it was kind of what everyone expected from the Chargers game. It was going to be a punch you in the mouth type of game, or hit you in the mouth type of game. I haven't watched any of the press conferences yet because I just got back from the stadium. It was hot as shit, by the way, you guys. Like, temperature-wise, 80 degrees, fine. Sitting in the sun in humid Pittsburgh? I did that on purpose, but I like questioned it at the end. But sitting there, like, Oh my God, I was drenched in sweat. I feel gross. I'm gonna go shower after this, and I have like dinner that I gotta get to tonight too and stuff. But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, Pittsburgh's conservatism on the offense. They need to start. Oh, and I was talking about the run game. Najee did fine. We did not see any Jaylen Warren, man. I don't know if it's his injury or what's going on, but we should not be seeing more Cordero Patterson than Jaylen Warren. And granted, in the fourth quarter, Cordero was doing pretty good, but for the first three, it was not good. There was a play where Justin had a receiver in the middle of the field. I was like, okay. And it was Cordero Patterson. And I was like, why are we relying on Cordero Patterson? Now, to be fair, Pittsburgh does not have a wide receiver 2. Calvin Austin is not a wide receiver 2. I'm sorry. He's probably like a phenomenal wide receiver 3 because of his speed and his slot abilities. But Pittsburgh really needs a wide receiver 2. I don't know if Roman Wilson is going to be that guy when he comes back. He's going to start whenever he's healthy because he's a great run blocker. Also, like Van Jefferson had a good game last week. The stats didn't show it, but he was getting separation and drawing penalties because he was open, and I don't think he had any targets today, so that's not good. Pat had a pretty good game. They need to get him more involved as well. So I just think we need to open up the offense more. Time possession was really good though, even though it was up until the fourth quarter, it was pretty even, and then Pittsburgh dominated the fourth quarter time possession. Defensively, I know Highsmith got hurt. What I'm hoping happened is Pittsburgh was comfortable enough putting in Herbig that they were like, we're not going to risk your health for the rest of the season, so we're going to put in Nate. And Nate came in and had 2 sacks, or it was a sack and a half maybe. But TJ had a sack, Nate had a sack, Cam had a sack, and I can't remember if there was a fourth one or not. But great showing by the defense. Patrick Queen dropped an interception. But, I mean, for the most part, like I said, we gave up 10 points. There's not much nitpicking I can do. I will say, like, I can't judge the defense fully. My fantasy team is going off right now. I can't judge the defense fully because Herbert went out with an injury pretty early. Slater and Joe Alt, and Rashawn Slater, they're 2 tackles who are phenomenal tackles. Like Joe Alt, with how bad the quarterbacks have been, Joe Alt might be a finalist for Rookie of the Year. And Rashawn Slater is a phenomenal tackle as well. They both went out with injury. So there is that to gauge as well. But I think the biggest showing for me was how Pittsburgh handled the offense against a good defense. I know Joey Bosa went out, but other than that, like Derwin was still playing, Khalil was still playing. Like their defensive front is still really good, and their secondary aside from Derwin is not that great. Now, it's hard to call it a weakness because it's a good overall defense, but anything's going to have a weakness. Like anything that is perfect there's still technically a weakness there. And for the Chargers, it's their secondary. I'm gonna go listen to the press conferences while I'm in the shower and stuff, so I can hear what Justin, I think TJ had a press conference, and then obviously Mike have to say about everything. But yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh should announce Justin as the season-long starter for the rest of the year, because if not, there's like the locker room's going to be confused. They're already now adjusting. This is 3 games now. The offense has worked with Justin as the primary. And if you go, hey, okay, we're going to switch from a scrambling archetype that has a good arm to an improviser archetype quarterback, we're going to have to change the playbook a little bit. You're just hurting the team in that case. So I don't know. I think Russell would be a phenomenal quarterback too. And I think, in my opinion, he's not really a starter anymore. He's a phenomenal backup, like I said. But I mean, unless like Miami wanted him, if Tua was going to miss the whole season or something like that. But the ceiling is higher with Justin, and to me also the floor between Justin and Russell is pretty similar. So if you have the same floor, you'd obviously shoot for the higher ceiling. So yeah, loved what I saw. Short-ish video. These are usually like a lot longer, but I'm in a hurry. So curious your guys' thoughts. There might not be a skit tomorrow. I'm really busy today, being in Pittsburgh, and I fly tomorrow, so we'll have to see. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts, whether you're a Steelers, Chargers, or others fan. Oh, also, I want to see, the Browns were losing when I last checked, and I want to know if they ended up losing that game or not, because if they did, that's a big thing for the Giants won. Holy crap. So the Browns are 1-2, the Ravens are 0-2, and the Bengals are 0-2. So even if the Bengals and the Ravens win this week, which is pretty possible, then every team in this division is 1-2 except for Pittsburgh. Huh? Just like we drew it up, you guys. Wow. And if, let's say, I don't think Washington will beat Cincinnati, but let's say they do, and I don't remember, Jesus, my fantasy team is going off. I don't remember who Baltimore, the Cowboys. I picked Baltimore to win this game, but I mean, that's a game they could lose because it's in Dallas. But let's say they both lose. You have two teams at 0-3 and another team at 1-2. And you don't have to face them until the second half of the season. Pittsburgh has to string together wins. We play Indy next week, who just looked horrible against Chicago. And our offense is 1,000 times better than Chicago's, or like it looks better. That's what happens when you bring in Shane Waldron from Seattle, who apparently was not that good. But man, I'm very curious how Chicago feels about. I mean, it's only week 3. I think people are going to be shitting on Caleb a lot. I think people were expecting him to be throwing for 300 yards a game at this point, leading them to 3-0. But Pittsburgh has to play the Colts next week. I think it's in Indiana. It is in Indianapolis as well. And then you guys are going to see me in the Dallas game. I'm going to be back in Pittsburgh for that one too. So that'll be fun. Other than that, I'm going to go shower, get all this sun and sunscreen and sweat off of me. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next week. You know how we end these videos.